Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you my multi-vector blur node. So I made a setup here with the sphere in the scan9 renderer and it's moving. So first of all I'm going to add some overscan. So I want that data for later on lens distortion and chromatic aberration, so I have more information outside the frame. Now let's view the native vector blur. And it works just fine, and we see the bounding box is gone. So unfortunately the native vector blur doesn't keep the bounding box. That's why I made this node. So as we view it, you see we get an entire bounding box around the format here. So what it does is it adds to the original format, like here, this is full HD, and it adds pixels on X and Y, then makes a bigger format, vector blurs on that, and then reformats it down so that all the edges are kept intact and they are now outside the format. This is what we see here. So this box is really what the node is about. So it adds this overscan, and it can also fix the edge issues that might happen with a vector blur node. Check your original format. So we have 100 pixels here, and then you have to unfortunately do it by hand and add a format. And you can split that slider as well and have different width and height if you want. But as long as you have enough, it's going to work fine. So let's view it through a transform. And as you see, all the information is still there. And if we compare it to the original one, you see all the information is lost, but here it's still there. All the other settings are very much what you know from the native vector blur node. Only difference here is that I added the switch blur direction checker, and this I did because sometimes with Arnold renders from Maya I have the problem that whenever I open Nuke, the vectors point in the wrong direction. So this checkbox really just switches red and green, so it rotates the vectors by 90 degrees and can help you fix that problem. Also, I made a slider that can rotate the vectors. It's not working so nice, to be honest. It rotates slightly, but it also changes the strength. But in case you need that, you can of course counter that with the motion amount. But in case you need that, you have the option to do that. Next up, I have just a rotor shape, and I added the vector blur node. And right now, Nuke's going to give you an error because it doesn't have any motion path to work with. So if that happens, you can use that function here. So I built in a little thing that's building a motion vector for you and kind of serves as a directional blur. So let's enable directional blur. Now the node creates a motion vector path, which you can modify right here. So you have strength mode, which is strength. And then you have a direction, which you can change however you want. Very important though, I forgot to mention, there's a big green button here. If you click it, it will remind you that this node needs a motion vector path to work. So if your CG doesn't have motion vector data, instead it has a path just called motion or velocity or whatever, you need to shuffle it from here into motion vector before using that node. So lastly, I have a jet here which flies by very, very fast. Let me find it. So, and yeah, again, I keep pointing out the problems of Arnold. If I view it through the native vector blur node, you see that we get this overshoot of vector blurring and some not so nice edges. I don't know why that is, but my node fixes this. And as you can see, first of all, the edge looks nice and the overshoot is gone and the blur looks just fine. So this is the native one and this is mine, and you can see it just works way nicer. Yeah, I hope that's helpful, and if you find any bugs, please don't hesitate to contact me. Have a nice day.